Hi everybody, my name is Barry Schwartz and this is the Search Buzz video recap. Today is Friday, January 31st. And this is the search news we covered this week. A lot of stuff going on. Algorithm updates potentially, lots of flopping around favicons and removing those, lots of information about featured snippets. There's a lot going on, so stay tuned and I hope you enjoy it. All right, first up, so potentially, it's really hard to know that if maybe there was a Google algorithm update this past week. Maybe it started about a few days ago or so. I'm not exactly sure. It's really, like I said, really hard to know because of what's going on in the search results. But there's some signals in terms of lots of chatter. Some of the tools are lighting up. But again, there's so much changing the Google search results around user interface, feature snippets, and always something changing. So it's really hard to know. But you should definitely be aware there's something going on. With that, somebody at Forbes basically communicated that he saw his traffic, his specific articles, take a huge dive. And this guy writes a lot at Forbes. And because of that, he said actually it was on the 27th at around 11 p.m., the traffic on Forbes started to drop, at least drop dead in terms of his specific articles. It looks like other writers were complaining as well. We're not sure what's going on. It may have been related to this unconfirmed Google update. It might be a bug with their analytics, but it definitely seems like something is going on some level. Google said this week that it's going to start not reverting, but it will go ahead and start testing new variations of the favicons in the Google search results. So Google launched this week, or a couple weeks ago, the mobile user interface, where it has favicons and that black ad label in the search results. And Google said this week that said, hey, we heard your feedback. You don't like it, even though you were okay with it on mobile. You're not okay with it on desktop. And because of that, we're going to go ahead and try different things. And over the past few days and ongoing for the next couple of weeks, Google said they are going to be testing more variations of different user interfaces for the search results on desktop. It looks like the mobile results will stay for now with the favicons and ad signals, but they are going to go ahead and change and see what works and what doesn't work. I posted a bunch of examples of the tests over here on January 27th if you're interested in looking at that. So just keep an eye on that. Things are definitely changing, and again, causing lots of confusion in the search results around what's changing or not. Now, we've been complaining a lot about Google. What about Bing? Let's complain about Bing. Microsoft ads on Bing also are incredibly hard to see. Look at this. That ad label is tiny. It's worse than the Google ad label, in my opinion, and nobody really complains about that. So yeah, there are issues there as well. There's been confusion around the Google feature snippets changes. I know Google communicated it, and Danny Sullivan's been all over the place communicating around it. But I went ahead and summed up everything you need to know about this feature snippet change. As you know, Google deduped the feature snippets. So now feature snippet is considered the position 1, no longer position 0. And because of that, Google's not going to go ahead and show that same URL in the search results below it. I have a whole thing here around feature snippets, so I'm not going to go through it all. But if you are interested in learning what happened with the feature snippets, this blog post on January 30th summarizes it all in these points here. If you want to take a screenshot of that, you can do that too, or just read the blog post that's linked to in the YouTube description below. Google may go ahead and finally give us performance data specifically on filtering around the feature snippets, because now again, feature snippets will remove or dedupe your actual search results, and because of that, Google should probably give us information around the click-through rate on those feature snippets. They used to have something in beta where you see here featured snippets. It was a beta feature into the old Search Analytics report. Now it's called the Search Performance Report. And it was there. It would be great if Google went ahead and gave it to us. And Danny Sullivan said, maybe we'll break it out. Who knows? Maybe we'll do it. Maybe we won't. I really think they should. There are obviously reasons why they might not want to. But you probably are smart enough to figure out why. But again, it's something that I think marketers should have data on. Real data on, not data from third-party data tools. They should have real Google data on that, in my opinion. And also, Google says they're considering changing the image section in the feature snippet. So as you know, a lot of feature snippets have that image block in the top right corner that may show an image from a third-party website not associated with the actual text version of the website that they're using for the feature snippet. And because of that, Google's not deduping the URL shown in the image if it's not associated with the actual text block of the feature snippet from where the text is being pulled from. But that might change. Google might test different things, Google said, so keep an eye on that. Like you see, lots of things going on with the featured snippets, lots of information coming out. Also, the right side featured snippet, again, this is all stuff Google communicated, but it really, like, SEOs are not reading those tweets for some reason. So I'm kind of summarizing it in that initial blog post, summarizing the again in this everything you need to know blog post, which I discussed before, and then making some standalone blog post so you guys can see it as well. And Google said that they will go ahead and move that right side feature snippet, kind of like the knowledge panel looking feature snippet, to the top eventually. It's not happening now, but Google's going to work towards that. When Google does that, they're no longer going to have to remove the deduplication of that right side feature snippet. So what Google was doing was, if the feature snippet was on the right hand side over here, Google would not show it on the left side, but now Google's saying we're going to remove that feature where we're deduplicating feature snippets on the right hand side until we can move this whole box to the left hand side. So for now, you will see duplicate URLs on the feature snippet for right hand side feature snippets in the main search results until Google moves this whole box over there. And that might happen in the next coming months. Who knows? I'm not really sure. All right, let's move on. Google Search Console added some new tools. Well, not really new tools, but old tools from the old Search Console to the new Search Console. And what is this removal tool? The removal tools have a bunch of features. They have primary 3 features. One is to temporarily remove a search result, a URL from Google, which they had in the old version, to see outdated content requests. So you can actually go ahead and see somebody submitted a thing saying, hey, you could go ahead and somebody, not you, but somebody else requested that your site, that content be removed. You can see that there, as well as safe search filtering to see what content Google says is adult and is not showing in the search results because it's adult. So that's a cool new tool that Google released. Talking about Google Search Console, they released a new color. They're using orange now for one of the boxes in the performance reports. So the average position now is orange, as you can see over here. Google said it may be having internal issues in understanding Ikea's international pages. So John Mueller had a hangout with somebody who I think is an SEO at Ikea or works as a third-party SEO for Ikea, and that person was complaining about how Google's not able to understand the German pages versus the, I don't know, Swedish pages or whatever it might be. And Google said, yeah, it's probably an internal issue with Google. Don't worry about it. We'll look into it. So that's interesting that Google says that. Google's John Mueller also said that they do not follow links. Well, they consider links in PDFs as no follow, but that kind of directly conflicts early information that Google published around links in PDFs as well. So, I don't know, John Mueller's like, maybe I'm wrong. Not sure what's going on. Google has not clarified that, which I asked them to, so it's kind of upsetting. But again, I wouldn't worry so much about links in PDFs. I'm sure most of your links are not from PDFs. John Mueller also said that schema or structure markup, the rich results, Google Assistant stuff, all that stuff around schema and marking up your content will not get any easier. It will get harder, he said, because more and more schema and support is going to come out. How Google uses it with Google Assistant and Google Search is going to get harder and more complicated. So definitely brush up on your JSON or JSON LD features, as well as schema and markup, all that stuff you should really start to learn more about if you are interested in capitalizing on that. Google says you should not go ahead and translate image file names when the image file name is exactly the same image as you're using on your English page, that you use on your French page, that you use on your Spanish page. Just use one file name for that image and don't translate it and try to get that image index multiple file names because it's the same image. This is funny. Somebody shared people also ask with me that said it's sponsored ad, but it's not really a sponsored ad. It's actually pulling directly from this text here. Sponsored ad is pulling directly from the content on that page. It looks like it's a sponsored ad. It looks like a Google ad, but it's not. So again, don't be confused by that, please. Google Assistant actions do not help you rank better, according to Danny Sullivan. So if you are if you've implemented any Google Assistant actions, it's not going to go ahead and give you a ranking boost in organic search. It doesn't work that way, Danny Sullivan said, so don't worry about that. John Mueller from Google said that if you are seeing requests from a user agent of 41 for GoogleBot request, that's usually Google requesting resources, but not necessarily rendering the page. Google's new user agent, the dynamic user agent of the latest version of Chrome, is the one that's requesting or actually rendering the page. The 41 is still being used for requesting resources, but that's going to change over time as well, John Mueller said. So that's an interesting little tidbit to learn. Google Ads is switching all of their accelerated delivery methods to standard delivery. They did this back in October for most of their campaigns, but now everything is switching over. So things such as display video, app, and hotel campaigns are the final ones that haven't switched over yet. All of those will switch over. You'll stop being able to use it in April. And in May, Google will switch them over automatically. So just keep that in mind. There has been a spike in the Google My Business suspensions recently, according to both local SEOs and other SEOs, that there's been a lot of spikes, and even Google itself has posted a message saying, yeah, there's a high volume request in terms of Google My Business suspensions. So there's lots of complaints around there, so definitely take a look at that as well. Google Chrome is testing not displaying the URL of the page, of the Google search page specifically. So here's a screenshot, as you can see over here. You can see here's a screenshot where Google on the search results page is not showing the URL. Here's the URL of the search result page. It's just showing the query. This doesn't happen when you actually go to a web page. It just happens to the Google search page for some reason. This is a test that somebody's posted and shared with me. Also, if you're an SEO and you're looking for a new job and you want to move to Mountain View, Google is hiring an SEO again. So definitely take a look at this if you are interested in working for Google as an SEO. Supposedly the job is a lot harder because the job gives you actually less access to Google search engineers that you and I have as normal people. But if you are looking to work at Google as an SEO, you can definitely do that. And finally, we posted 2 vlogs this week. One was with Tom Craver at CBS Interactive, and we talked about how since he works at a news organization, he gets blame about news bias in Google News on 2 fronts. One, because he's an SEO and he can technically control the news and how it's ranked in Google. And 2 is because he produces the news because he works at a news agency. We also talked about Schema, a lot about Schema, so definitely take a look at that because Schema is important, as we discussed before. And finally, I also sat down with Lisa Barone in Albany at Revert, old friend in the industry, fellow blogger. We talked about really writing content and how writing content is important for SEO, as well as what she does at the company. A lot of fun chat. You should definitely take a look at it. It was pretty fun. In any event, thanks so much for listening to the Search Buzz video recap. My name again is Barry Schwartz, and the search news we covered over the Search Engine Roundtable at SEOroundtable.com over the past week. That was fast, right? Pretty fast. And again, today is Friday, January 31st. Everyone have a great week, and I'll see you guys next. Goodbye.